welcome to TV Talk with Natasha and Kim. I am Kim, and that's Natasha. Say hi, Natasha.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. And I know we haven't been with you for a while, going over Grimm and holidays and whatnot, but we are back now, so we are going to gloss over the 2 episodes they showed as the kind of winter finale for 2 weeks, and then we'll go over the latest episode that occurred last night. So let's get down to it. The first episode from, what was it, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Seems like it was longer than that, but yeah.
It's called Cold-Blooded. All right. I didn't think much happened in this episode. It was the one thing that I geeked out about because I was a Buffy fan and an Angel fan is the new prince, or the prince that is the acting prince, is Wesley from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was Faith's little mentor there, kind of like Giles and Buffy. So I totally geeked out about that. But other than that, not much happened. I don't. What did you find interesting about the episode? I mean, the guy was like, the Vesson was kind of like a dinosaur or a crocodile. I say dinosaur. I think you said crocodile.
Yeah.
Type of character. I did not see that there was going to be 3 of them. That was interesting.
No, I did not. That was interesting.
Yeah. So, but other than that, I was kind of honestly, I was kind of bored.
I was bored. Although Nick's weapon was pretty cool with his with the knife poking out, and him and Hank kind of geeked out a little bit, and they were like, "Oh, cool!" And then he like zoned out because he was remembering how he killed the guy from like way back in episode 1 of season 2.
Yeah, I did. I thought that weapon was pretty cool, and I think he was like. I think once the one of the guys tried to bite him and he went like this, he was like, oh, "It works!" So it was really, it's really funny. You're like, "Yeah,
yeah." It was like the wrist thing to help protect him from the Wesson's bite. So that was pretty cool. And he took all 3 of them, and they were pretty big dudes. I thought he was like brushing up on his fighting skills. I was like, "All right, Nick, what?"
I know, he's getting a lot better. He's getting quicker, and Wu had some comment, one of his one-liners about peeing in the tub. Don't act like you never did it. And I was like, Wu, come on, man.
But he's kind of right on that, really. Like, are you serious? So you've never peed in the tub at any point in your life? Are you serious? Maybe when you're little, more so than when you're adult, but you had to done it at least once. I'm not knocking it. I'm not judging.
Nick and Hank kind of looked at him like, dude, no. Dude. But it's really funny sometimes the looks they exchange between each other. But, like, seriously, what of note really happened in that episode?
Not much movement. Oh, except for Adeline or Wesley figuring out that she was pregnant and him watching her, which was really creepy.
Yeah, it was kind of creepy. I think it's so funny that we're going to call him Wesley now. We have no idea what his name is, but we're just going to call him Wesley because
right now, awesome. Yes.
And so was Bernard still over there? He was still over there.
He was still over there. Again, there was very little movement. Like, he met up with the Resistance within the 2 episodes, but then that was about it. Like, they were like, "Oh, well, we'll agree to work together," but that was about the extent of it. And I was really hoping that they would just focus on his storyline and maybe like skip what was going on in Portland. Maybe it would have moved the story a little further along. But then he was back this week, so then I was like, all right, what happened?
You bring up a great point because I felt like I wasn't really understanding the Resistance at all. I know that he was in a room with them and they don't seem to get along, and I was just waiting for a fist fight to break out. But I don't think I fully grasped what the Resistance is because there was so much back and forth, and I think you're correct. If they would have focused on that, I think it would have been a lot better episode. There's something about his assistant. I call him his assistant, but the guy that's, helping him. That's helping him while he's in Portland. Not the guy that was taking him around, but the guy that's actually helping him when he's in Portland, spying on stuff and whatnot. Something about him I don't trust. I don't know why. He has beady eyes. But there's
Yeah,
something.
apparently the resistance is against the royals, but then I'm like, well, the royals seem to have everything in check, so what are you complaining about? But maybe it's because the royals act like they're better than everybody, and when they're paranoid, they put cameras in your hotel room and just watch you.
Yes, and I'm not understanding the structure. Like I know that there's a council. Do they work with the royals? Obviously they work with the Grimms, but do they work with the royals? Do they ever
Yeah,
interact?
and where are the borders? Like what? Like with the council, Nick has actually mentioned them several times since he encountered them in the other episode, right before Cold Blooded. And then he even mentioned them again in the 12 Days of Krampus because he was like, well, we'll give the Krampus to the council and have them deal with it because he didn't know what to do with him. He couldn't really kill him because he's one of the few Wesson that don't realize that he's Wesson. So it's kind of like, all right, what do you do with someone like that?
Well, that is a good segue into the next episode. Although I do wonder why Renard doesn't have an accent. It seems like people in his family do, and he doesn't. So that.
Well, he's been in the U.S. for a while. Maybe that's what it is.
I guess. But that is a good segue into the next episode, which was 12 Days of Krampus. Ah, what a name.
He's a cool Wesson.
This was a good episode. I really liked it. It was enjoyable. It's a little freaky because he was going after teenagers. And you know what? At the end when they were when they were cutting people down from the trees and taking all these teenagers out, I was like, if I was a skater, I would be really mad right now because they all look the same. Like they all look like skater types of people, and I'm like, that's generalizing. Boo. Boo. But
it wasn't a menagerie. He wasn't diversifying his kidnapping.
Exactly.
But he did focus on folk that were stealing, at least the two that he caught and he kidnapped. And what was up with the dude in the parking garage just seeing this and doesn't do anything? Like, he didn't immediately, like, back away or, like, have his phone out or nothing. He just looked, and then he was like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, don't you see what he's doing? He's switching this boy and putting him in a sack. What?
I was mad. I was like, you should bum rush him. What is wrong with you? I mean, that is a child.
I was like not understanding that at all.
I mean, I understand when he looked at him and he saw like a demon type of face, he was like, ah! But like, I mean, walking into a parking lot and seeing that and just seeing a person in a Santa suit, start running towards it, bum rush him. I mean, this is before he even saw his face, but he's just like staring. I'm like, come on, dude, it's Christmas, and you're watching a kid get kidnapped.
I'm just saying, no, that was very off the wall.
Yeah, it really was, and I think it's so. Here we have another thing that's more of a. I know he was like a Vesson, but it's not like there's a race of him. It's one of those episodes where it's kind of a mythical creature type, not Vesson type of thing. And I always like those because I think they always do a really good job with them. And so this is like a scary story that they tell their kids. And I like how he leaves Cole.
Yeah, that's. And he catches bad kids doing bad things, and then he switches them and puts them in a sack. Like, what? This is like the evil side of Santa kids, so you need to be good all year round. That's all I'm saying.
Wu had another line. It's when they went into they were back in the precinct and they analyzed the coal, and he said, here you go, it's coal from the North Pole, Merry Christmas. And I'm like, oh, what do you do with that? You know, it's not a clue. There's coal from the North Pole. I mean, what is that? What is that? That doesn't help us with this case at all. And I thought it was hilarious because he said it real quick, threw it at him, and walked off. I like Wu. I just like little comedic parts, and he plays them well.
Yeah. And Hank has been having some pretty good one-liners too, as far as, especially this last episode.
I know. We will get into that. That was definitely funny. So, I mean, I thought this, like I said, I thought this episode was really cool. The fact that he eats the kids is, oh my
It's a little bit
gosh.
creepy.
And
Yeah.
then you felt bad for the guy who was like an accountant when he changed back at midnight because he had no idea he was doing this. I mean, can you imagine as a person finding out every year you eat children? Like,
He doesn't realize that that's what he's doing. He just finds blood on his clothes or what he perceives as blood on his clothes, but then he moves on. I'm like, that's a little suspicious. I'm sorry, but I would be kind of going crazy. In fact, I probably would have checked myself into an institution if I saw blood and I had no idea where it was, and then I found out that these kids or whoever was missing and wind up dead, or there's like no trace of them after that. Like, I'm not understanding.
yeah, well, he's probably scared, but I mean, if I saw that, I'd immediately think that I turn into a werewolf. I mean, that's what I would think. And if I knew it happened at the same time every year, I would put myself in chains, and I would put like a video camera up, and I'd say, "Let's see what happens." That's what I
You
would
would think
do.
he would have done it at this some point, but I guess he didn't.
That's what a normal person would do. They would assume they're a werewolf. Um, I
You're like
really,
him.
yeah, I really think so.
Yeah.
Um, but and then when they were out searching for the tallest tree in Portland, and Monroe was kind of sniffing him out, and Nick was like, "Do you smell
Blood.
anything?" Like, yeah, nothing but the smell of fear on Bud. I'm like, "Come on, Bud, get it together, man up." That was awesome.
Then, like, straight up, he was like, "You deal with Krampus, I'll deal with the kids."
Yeah, it was really funny. So
Oh, and Nick, when Krampus was choking him, he zoned out into his zombie mode.
yeah, and he hadn't done that for a while. Like the episode
Yeah,
before, he didn't at all. And I actually wrote that down in my notes. I was like, so he doesn't go dead anymore, and then all of a sudden he zones out again. I'm like, and there it is.
yeah, there it is.
So it was really interesting. Um, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the council and that guy. I kind of felt sorry for him, because he
Yeah,
couldn't control it. I hope they don't whack him. That would be awful.
so that's probably what they're gonna do, though. I mean, let's just be for real.
So sad. So
I
sad.
know. That's
All right.
yeah.
So let's move into this week's episode, which was full of goodness and grossness. Grimm, you are getting gross.
It's like they have to top themselves at for whatever reason they feel like they have to top themselves. It's like, oh, it's been a few episodes, let's totally gross these people out.
Exactly, and they did. They really did. You were live tweeting.
Yes, I
Um,
was live
and,
tweeting.
and I saw some of the tweets. I was like, "Well, I'm just going to eat popcorn because I'm not going to eat anything of substance because I'm going to get sick." Judging from your tweets, so and it really was disgusting. But so this episode, it was called Red Menace.
Yes.
Um, so we see, oh my gosh, Queen Bee already. Will you get your?
I've given up on that at this point. Let's just focus on the baby and what it means with Wesley and co. Like, what's happening with that? Because Renard actually talked to her, and he's like,
She got caught. She got
yeah,
caught.
you got caught, and you may need a friend eventually. So call me when you do, boo. I'm rolling.
And is it mine?
I know. That's the question of the day, people. Is it his? She acting all coy, like, what, you trying to not pay child support? No, that's not it. That's not the reason he's asking. Part of it, but that's not the whole reason that he's asking.
She just should have said, I don't know. Because that's what it comes down to. She doesn't
No, she
know.
doesn't know. And the fact that they're related is not helping. That
Well,
makes it even harder, right?
it
Oh,
does.
I can't.
I know. It's scandalous, actually.
Yeah, a little scandalous.
So this episode, and okay, I don't remember the name of the vessel that this guy is, but he heals people, which I thought was pretty cool. He healed that little girl right in the beginning, and he said, you're gonna have pain for a couple days, but then it's gonna dissipate. And I was like, oh, this is really cool thing, and then you find out it's killing him every single time he does it, and I'm like, oh,
That sucks.
it does.
Yeah.
That's such a bad. That's I
It's
don't
like
know.
catch
It bummed me out.
22. I know.
It is. It's like you have this great gift you can share with everybody, and it's going to kill you.
Well, it's like he's absorbing the illness and each person that he heals from like an illness, especially like a major one, it slowly kills him. I mean, I guess some part of whatever disease that he heals is attached to him, and then it just eats away at him. And unfortunately, while he can also heal, he can also harm you very grossly.
Very much so, which we saw with the guy that attacked him, and you didn't know who the guy was in the beginning, but he attacked him, and what he gave him the equivalent of radiation poisoning or something like that. It was
Yeah, radioactive poisoning, because Hazmat was there. They were like, you need to roll out. And we had a shower scene, guys, with 3 very handsome guys. And
Woo
we
was
need
covered.
more Woo. No, I'm
He
like,
was
we
covered in
hardly
soap.
saw Woo. And I'm like, we need more Woo shower scenes, people. Grimm,
He was
get it
covered
together.
in soap. It was so funny. He was all like scrubbing. He was covered in soap. I was rolling. Because everybody else is just like la la. Like Nick is like la la, and Hank and Woo's like no, get it off me, get it off me. So funny.
And what made it so bad was Hank was the one that touched the body. He
Oh
should have been the one that was majorly scrubbing. I'm like, ew.
And that's exactly what he did. After he dropped the body, I would have like ran out screaming. But guys can't do that.
I
They
know.
can. I wouldn't judge them. They can, but he's a cop. He's like, so. But I would have screamed. I wouldn't care who's around him. Been like, ah!
And he was alive, and I was like, wow, you're still alive, dude. And it was like in the tub, and it was just gross. And I'm like, that's why I take showers, man. That just look gross. Ugh.
So we see, and you know what? When something's gonna happen, because when Hank was at physical therapy and he hit on that woman, she's a pretty. I mean, I don't remember what her name is, but she's been in movies, and like she's too big of a person to just have a cameo like that and not come back. And I know he tries to ask her out with a smooth, and it was awkward. It was so awkward. But I wouldn't be
it's so
surprised.
adorable. And I'm like, Hank needs love.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see her again, just because I don't know, her part was really small for that actress, which she's pretty well known. So, except for I don't remember what her name is, but I've seen her in a bunch of things. So,
I think her last name is Neal. Is it Sharon Neal? I'm pretty sure. But hey, she started on Guiding Light, so it is what it is.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see her again, because Hank needs something, because he had Adeline, and we don't want that to ruin
No.
him forever.
And then we got introduced to Juliet's friend, who's apparently in an abusive relationship. And we've encountered this Besson before. She actually is a foosbao, which totally threw off Nick, because that was like totally out of left field. He was like, oh, let me just put the bag in the room, or the room in the bag, because he was just all discombobulated.
How does one get used to that? I mean, I think I would scream like every single time. It would take me a couple years in order to get like used to it, especially if it's somebody that you know that's friends with your wife that you don't think it's gonna happen. All of a sudden she changes into that, and you're like, ah! Like that would be my reaction. But he plays it off well, and he's just like, and I'm gonna go put this in the other room. So it's so interesting. I was like, how does one get used to that? But I don't know. He got used to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, and apparently this relationship is a mixed Besson relationship, like Rosalie and Monroe, because she's a foosbao and her husband is a Klaukschein, who was actually in an episode of season 1, like the Besson. We've encountered this Besson before, like way back in season 1. And I was like, no wonder that Besson looked familiar. I'm like, yeah, it was from season 1. That's why. And apparently they had that kind of personality where they're like abusive and like just cat-like. And I'm like, why did the abusers have to be cat-like, man? I'm upset about that.
Well, they could be big cat kind of mountain lion type of. No, they really look like a cat, but it looks like I don't know. I don't see it as your typical cat, so don't get offended. I think they should have tried to make cats look evil. They're not. They're not. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that they brought this scenario in because that story didn't have a beginning and end, so you can tell that it's going to drag through a couple episodes. So I thought that was an interesting element. I haven't seen them do that before with characters that were not mainstream. I think these Russians that they depicted in this were so stereotypical. Everybody was drinking vodka and fighting. And I just was like, oh my gosh, if I was Russian, I'd be offended. But no, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't. It was all in good fun. And Hank with his one-liners.
Yeah, it was like, why doesn't this surprise me? When Captain Renard started speaking Russian, it should not have surprised you at all.
It didn't surprise me. I think I agree with Hank. And his accent was really good too.
Oh yeah, that was very interesting. And it's always nice when you see people trying to talk in their own language and someone actually understands them and just busts out with talking in that language, and they're like, oh, wow, now we can't talk like that anymore, because then they'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah. It was funny, too, when they came into the precinct in their scrubs.
Yes, they were,
yes. Ghostbusters and somebody just said, who are you going to call? I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's so funny, they look like Ghostbusters.
Grimm tweeted, who are you going to call Grimm Busters? That was cute.
Yeah,
they just started a fashion trend. So everyone's going to be in a blue hazmat suit and booties.
I really think that they should have put that radioactive man out of his misery because he just looked like he was suffering. I'm like, just put him out of his misery. And so that was a good twist, right? Because you didn't see who he was working for or with, and then you find out it's the maid because, this guy killed her father years ago, 20 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, because he was an assassin, so no wonder he could defend himself. He's a priest that can defend himself because he was an assassin in his previous life before he got saved.
He wanted so badly to make amends for that, and I thought it was really cool that he healed her, but it was also kind of rude because he didn't even care that his wife was he would just go and hook up with this girl right in front of his wife, and I'm like, dude.
Well, apparently, when they heal, it also increases their sex drive. So I'm just wondering if she just couldn't handle it, and then she was just like, "I'm upset that you're hanging out with your groupies, but
it's not an excuse."
What do you do with that? I know it's not an excuse. He has a wife. He has a wife that he could,
or he could take a pill,
have relief with, and it just wasn't happening. But she still defended her man. Olga, I gotta give her credit for that. And then it was like a slap in the face because then she attacked the maid and then he heals her. I'm like, really, dude?
But see, I saw it as he did that, one, to make amends for her, two, because now his wife isn't going to go to jail for murder.
True.
So
but she would still go to jail for assault, right? I'm just saying.
Well, where's the evidence, though? I mean, what are they going to say? They're going to file a report saying, she did assault her, but then the wound magically healed on itself, so we have no evidence of that?
I don't know. So it'll also depend on the maid to see if she'll press charges, so whatever.
I doubt she tried to kill a man.
Yeah, true.
She's going to jail, though, because he did die.
True.
That's so interesting. That was just an interesting little, and she was a warthog. We'd never seen that before. I call her a warthog. I don't know what she was, but she looked like a warthog.
It was Malin Fatel. That's the name of the Vestin.
I want to see those again.
Yeah, they're very similar to I don't know if it's Balshrine, but yeah, they're like the boars with tusks, and I thought her tusks were cool because they were very lethal. So I don't want to get her upset at all.
I know, and she's got that face too that, she would just look at you and you'd be like and run away. So
run away.
I would totally run the other way. I I thought it was a great episode. I really liked it. I like how they left you with some stuff that's going to go on to the next episode. We didn't really see. Did we even see Rosalie at all in this episode?
No, I think she was she even mentioned? I don't even think so. And I thought it was interesting how Hank was trying to like bring the captain into the trailer, and Nick was like, hell no.
Yeah, that's true. But I think Captain's been in that trailer before, little does Nick know.
They don't know that, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. And Monroe seemed a little out of his element just because he was like, Russian is like Greek to me.
No, I know, I like that line too. Like,
oh, and we found out Rasputin was a Vessin! No surprise!
Yes, makes sense, doesn't it?
Totally makes sense. Because apparently the Koshai are very hard to kill, and Rasputin was a very hard man to kill.
I like how I do like how they draw upon history and throw stuff in there like that. I thought that was really cool. I don't know. That's what I like about Grimm. They do a really good job for the most part with their writing and story. I really like it. I'm impressed with the show. So. Well, guys, that is our recap of that. So we're going to spend the next couple minutes talking about what you can expect from us from TV Talk with Natasha and Kim this new year. So we're going to change the format up a little bit. It is called TV Talk, and we have been just talking about Grimm, so we wanted to introduce a couple new shows into this discussion that we have every week for you guys. So let's let them know some of the shows that we're thinking about, Natasha.
Well, Teen Wolf is starting back on Monday. The following is coming out later this month. We definitely want to start talking about Once Upon a Time, Sleepy Hollow, of course Grimm. We'll still talk about Grimm. And some other shows over the course of the week that comes on that we both watch.
Right, that's the key. We both watch them, and we want to introduce some more shows into this TV Talk time. So it's going to be really good, and we're kind of really excited about it. We will still do random specials, so don't think those are going away, but we're just going to introduce some more shows, and we're going to have a little hiatus here the next, was it a week or 2 weeks, Natasha?
It's probably going to be 2 weeks just because I have to work.
Yeah, because, real life calls, right? And,
yes, real life calls.
And sometimes we got to do things, to pay the bills. So we're just going to take a little hiatus, but when we come back, we're going to definitely be tackling the 2 episodes of Teen Wolf. We both really like that show, so we're going to tackle that.
Yeah, and if you've seen the trailer, you're going to be like, my mouth was hanging open. I'm excited, and I'm just like, I'm waiting to see everybody again and have them lose their mind. That's the theme of season 3B.
Okay, so Nerd Shame. I haven't seen the trailer. I've seen a promo about it looks like somebody's walking and they see stuff, and then all of a sudden there's Styles looking in the mirror at the end, but I haven't seen a trailer, I don't think, unless that was a trailer.
No.
Okay, well, Nerd Shame.
Yeah, considering you have a little something from the cast, boo Shank, boo Kim. Boo.
Yeah, one of our friends was nice enough to get the cast to sign a poster for me, so it was awesome. Thank you so much, Julie.
Shut up.
There it is. But yeah, and so we're gonna do that coming up here, and I'm gonna watch the Teen Wolf trailer and get that taken care of.
And you may need to be live tweeting, just because I don't know if I'll be able to live tweet for the East Coast.
Yes, live tweeting for Teen Wolf, and I have to find out what time that comes on. It comes on late, too. It's like one of those 10 o'clock. Oh, that's what I really did. She's on the East Coast, so she sees it like 3 hours before me, and I have to sit here and sulk.
Like Grimm last night.
I know. It's so like, ah! And it's so bad too because it's like 10 o'clock. It's not night. It's not like it comes on at 8. I like literally have to wait.
Yeah,
I'll
the West
have fallen
Coast
asleep.
always has to wait.
I know. So we're really excited about this new format. I hope you guys are going to really enjoy it. So look for that in the next couple of weeks from us. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up here this episode of TV Talk with Natasha and Kim. As always, you can find me at Anime23 or find us both at The Nerd Element on Twitter. We've got the Facebook page, guys, so go over there and like our Facebook page if you haven't done so already. Just type in The Nerd Element on Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/The Nerd Element. We're on Google+, we're on Tumblr, we're on Pinterest.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. So, Natasha, where can they find you?
I'm at Willcat12, WILLCAT12 on Twitter. Also at The Nerd Element. I'll post random stuff sometimes on Facebook too. So I mean, it is what it is.
And she is a Twitter machine, ladies and gentlemen. She is a Twitter machine. A lot better at it than I am. We typically sign our names. You'll see KW for me and NW for her. When I remember, she's a lot better at it than I am. But that's where you find us, and we will see you in a couple of weeks, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.